Welcome back, Nation of Glory. Today, settle in, get comfortable, because what you're about to hear is not just a story about a wrestler. No, this is the journey of a man who carried heart, grit, and unbreakable loyalty everywhere he went. A man whose bark shook arenas and whose strength defined an era. This is the story of Rick Steiner, Robert Rex Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin who carved his name into the foundations of professional wrestling with courage, endurance, and the spirit of a true warrior. Now, imagine this as if you're listening to a cinematic voiceover. The lights fade, the crowd quiets, and all you hear is a heartbeat. Slow at first, then louder, faster. Because this story isn't just about championships and matches. It's about family, legacy, determination, and the willpower of a man who refused to quit even when life tried its hardest to break him. So stay with me till the very end, because every moment of this journey matters. Rick Steiner wasn't born into fame. He wasn't handed success. Like many legends, he began with nothing but a passion burning inside him, a fire that was too bright to ignore. Born in Michigan, raised in the heart of a hard-working family, young Robert learned early that strength is earned, not given. Whether it was through sports, discipline, or relentless training, he crafted himself piece by piece into something powerful. You could say destiny was waiting for him, but destiny doesn't work if you don't chase it. As a kid, he wasn't chasing spotlights. He was chasing excellence. Wrestling became a calling after he discovered how naturally his body and instincts fit with the sport. He had the build, the power, and the mental toughness that coaches dream of. Step by step, he shaped himself, grinding until every fiber in his body was sharpened for competition. And before long, that dedication took him somewhere big, right into the world of collegiate wrestling, where he proved he was more than strong, he was unstoppable. But life has a way of pushing people toward even bigger stages, especially those destined to stand under the brightest lights. And so, Robert Rex Steiner transformed, not into someone new, but into a bigger, bolder version of himself. Enter Rick Steiner, the name that would later shake arenas around the world. A name that carried impact. A name fans still chant with pride. When Rick Steiner broke into professional wrestling, the world wasn't prepared. His energy, fierce. His power, immediate. His presence, unforgettable. He wasn't polished in the Hollywood sense. No, he was wild, intense, unpredictable, like a force of nature wearing wrestling boots. And fans loved him for it. This wasn't a character built on scripts, this was a man whose intensity was real, who stepped into that ring like a warrior defending a kingdom. But as amazing as Rick was on his own, the universe had something even bigger planned for him. A partnership that would change tag team wrestling forever. A bond that went beyond wrestling, because it was a bond of blood. Rick and his younger brother Scott became the Steiner brothers, a duo that blended raw power with unmatched athleticism. Their chemistry was natural, their teamwork like a well-oiled machine, and their passion, undeniable. Picture it, the roar of the crowd, the flash of cameras, two brothers standing shoulder to shoulder, one with the explosive energy of a powerhouse, the other with the ferocity of a warrior. Together, they were unstoppable. They weren't just tag team champions, they were redefining what tag team wrestling could be. Suplexes that shook the mat, teamwork that stunned opponents, timing so precise it looked supernatural. And yet, behind all that dominance, there was something beautiful: brotherhood. Family. Trust. That's what set Rick Steiner apart. His heart. His loyalty. He fought not just for himself but for people he cared about. Every time he stepped into the ring, he brought the audience with him. He made you feel the match. You weren't just watching, you were experiencing the struggle, the triumph, the thrill. WCW became the stage where the dog-faced gremlin roared the loudest. He held tag team gold again and again, 8 incredible times. Every championship wasn't just a victory, it was a chapter in a story about resilience and domination. While other wrestlers built personas, Rick built history. And he did it with intensity that couldn't be faked. But even warriors face obstacles, injuries, rivalries, betrayals, moments of doubt. Wrestling isn't just slams and cheers, it's pain, sacrifice, and nights where the body begs for rest. Rick endured injuries, but every time the world thought he might slow down, he came back stronger. Like a fighter whose spirit refuses to break, he kept pushing forward. And as time marched on, life outside the ring came calling too. Rick Steiner wasn't just a wrestler. He was a father, a family man, a mentor, and that same heart that carried him through arenas carried him into a new chapter, supporting his son Braun Breaker, who now steps into the wrestling world with the same fire and strength that Rick once brought to every match. Imagine that, a legacy not ending, but continuing. A new generation carrying the name forward. That's not just success, that's immortality. Because legends don't fade, they inspire. Rick Steiner's journey teaches something powerful: greatness doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from passion. It comes from staying true to who you are, even when the world tries to shape you into something else. Rick stayed rugged, stayed fierce, stayed real. And that's why fans feel emotionally connected to him even today. His story isn't just wrestling, it's humanity, struggle, courage, victory. Think of how many people watched him grow through the years. Kids who adored him, teens who mimicked his suplexes on mattresses, adults who cheered louder than their own voice could handle, families who sat together around TVs during Wu's golden era. These memories, they don't fade, they become part of people's lives, part of their childhood, part of their hearts. And now, telling his story to you today, maybe you're feeling some of that nostalgia too. Maybe you remember the roar of the crowd, the slam of the mat, the bark of the dog-faced gremlin. That's the magic of wrestling, the magic of legends like Rick Steiner. They give us memories that last forever. But this journey doesn't end in the ring. After stepping away from wrestling, Rick Steiner entered new chapters with the same discipline and drive. He ventured into business, into community work, into life beyond spotlight. Because real strength isn't measured by how loud the crowd cheers. It's measured by who you remain when the lights turn off. Rick remained the same, dedicated, focused, grounded. That's what makes the story so powerful. A man who conquered arenas yet stayed humble. A fighter who became a leader. A champion whose biggest victories weren't always the ones televised, but the ones made through family, legacy, and love. And as Braun Breaker rises in the new generation of wrestling, you can almost feel the presence of Rick whenever Braun steps through the curtain. The same determination, the same intensity, the same unstoppable energy. The Steiner legacy lives on, not through one man, but through generations who carry that warrior spirit. And that, Nation of Glory, is what makes this story emotional, inspirational, unforgettable. Not because of titles won, not because of fame earned, but because Rick Steiner reminds us that legends are human too. They bleed, they struggle, they overcome, and in doing so, they show us that we can do the same. So when you hear his name, don't just think of suplexes and championships. Think of perseverance. Think of brotherhood. Think of a man who turned his passion into a legacy. Think of someone who left the world better than he found it, stronger, louder, braver. And if you're ever fighting your own battles, if life feels like it's got you in a chokehold, remember Rick Steiner. Remember the dog-faced gremlin. Remember how he kept getting back up, match after match, year after year. Because if he could fight through every challenge, then so can you. This story is more than wrestling. It's about life, struggle, heart, and glory. And now, as we reach the end of this journey together, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for giving your time, your attention, and your passion to this story. The world needs stories like this, stories of resilience, courage, and legacy. So if you enjoyed this powerful journey of Rick Steiner, if you felt inspired, if you felt the nostalgia, if this story touched your heart even for a moment, then don't leave without supporting the channel. Please subscribe to Nation of Glory so you don't miss more stories like this. Hit the like button, it helps more than you know. And share this video with friends, family, or anyone who loves wrestling, inspiration, or stories of incredible human strength. Until next time, stay strong, stay proud, and stay glorious. Thank you for being part of the Nation of Glory.